Alrighty guys, as the camera gives another Dragon Ball Legends ToP guide for season 27. So I know this was a little bit late, right? And it was actually because I was debating on even making this video or not, right? Because a lot of these videos have become very repetitive. Like the devs don't seem to want to do anything different with this game mode, right? Like yes, we do get new characters, but for the most part, the fights seem to be the same. Your team building seems to be the same with slight variations. So let me know in the comments if you want me to keep continuing to do this kind of stuff. I will still go ahead. I still want to put effort into these videos, right? I do want, if this is helping you guys, then I'm going to go ahead and continue doing them, right? So that being said, there will always be timestamps in the description down below, so you guys can go ahead and get where you guys need to go. The first thing that we are going to be talking about, though, is our pathing. Right, so I do have a screenshot of both of the paths that I will be taking right up here. You can see it's very linear, right? And typically, for the most part, I don't try to go for the most difficult path, right? Not normally anyways, right? But I do try to go ahead and go for the more optimized path so I can go ahead and get as much points as I possibly can with my team. So this is a loosely based mapping of the path that I will be taking. And remember, I will be doing a guide or walkthrough videos, 2 of them throughout the season. So definitely be on the lookout for those. I think the thing I want to talk about the most is on the second screenshot right here. For the second half of the board, I do have 2 fights circled right here for your 20th win streak fight right here, right? And the reason why I have 2 fights circled is because both of these fights are actually pretty easy. I would say if you land on either of these tiles, that's still going to be very good for you. Both, like, I feel like both of those fights, like I said before, they're not difficult to get through. I think they're going to reward you with a lot of points. The reason why I chose the right hand, or the circle, the 5th stage on the right side over the one on the left side is because on your way to the left side, there is a fight which does contain Boo-Tanks and the Super Saiyan Gohan from the Broly movie, and that's the unit that basically he soaks up all damage on turn 1, right? So you are guaranteed to get hit by a super attack there, right? That's the reason why I didn't really necessarily go for that. I mean, you can avoid that fight. Like, I'm not gonna, you can avoid that fight, but it is in the direction right here. So I kind of wanted to just avoid that altogether. Ended up going to the right hand side. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about map awareness / tips and tricks for this season, right? So speaking of that fight that we were just talking about during the pathing video, it is right here, right? It's a Z80, this battle right here. That's why it's kind of like annoying, because it's in this like weird position where if I'm trying to get to that 5-fist fight over here on the left hand side, which is against these guys right here, right, I kind of do have this in front of me. You can definitely go around it and all that good stuff, but when I'm looking at this fight right here, it just looks so terrible, right? I would just avoid this fight altogether, because it does have, not only does it have Boo-Tanks, but it has Goten, Super Saiyan Gohan, it has the LF Piccolo, and it also has Kaioken Goku alongside with the Healer 18, right? So Healer 18 is going to be debuffing you. Super Saiyan Gohan is going to be taking all the attacks on that first turn, and then the rest of the units all have the chance to go ahead and super attack you. You're guaranteed to actually get super attacked by Boo-Tanks right here, unless you have like the God setup, right, to actually counter this team. But other than that, even if you do soak up the Boo-Tanks super attack, there is still the possibility of getting super attacked by the other 3 as well. That's the main reason why I would just avoid this altogether. Every single time I see this fight, it literally makes me, I don't know, I hate this fight. Alright, so as expected, last season's video, I did talk about how the dual androids are going to make an appearance on the board eventually, right? Because they got a lot of playtime due to them being in Z tier when they had initially dropped, right? So right off rip, in our actual path, we do come across this stage, is this 3-fist stage, which does have the dual androids on it. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So there are going to be lots of android fights this time around, as expected, right? And they have buffs against Super Saiyan, they have buffs against Hybrid Saiyans, and they have buffs against Future. Honestly, it feels like they also have a buff against Regeneration too, because these droids in particular, the 17 and 18 duo, they do have a debuff against your healing, right? I think it's like minus 50% to health restoration, so that's, you know, you are going to get shafted in terms of your healing. So it does feel like they just have everything going for them, as well as having like the reverse element factors, right? They can switch between red being being effective against yellows and also being effective against blues. But that being said, I would advise prioritizing blues and yellows and purples, especially against this board, because you're going to see a lot of teams like this, especially with the duo droids. Alright, now so when you take on their droids though, or even just like regeneration kind of, right? Because sometimes they go hand in hand with each other. I would say these are your highest priority targets. So Android 21 is the first one I want to talk about. This is kind of like a more of a regeneration stage, but just in case you guys do see her, come across her, this Android 21 green, since she does have the flashbang effect on turn 2, which is in the form of solar flare, right? Which can inflict you with like canned attacking, right? And so that activates at the start of turn 2. So if you can kill her turn 1, you can avoid that easy. Alright, next we have Super 13, the red one, right? He gets a super attack guaranteed on turn 3, so as long as you kill him on turn 1 or turn 2, then you guys should be fine. I think he kind of does have a relatively decent key restore speed. He also gets key restore speed in his kit, so it might be pretty high. It might be higher. I'm underestimating it a little bit, so I would say definitely kill him in between round 1 or 2. You don't want to wait until it gets to round 3. And the next unit I would also say is Red 18. Since she does put some big debuffs on the top row of your board and in the center tile, you kind of do want to take care of her as well, because she's also going to be constantly healing her allies, but you can kind of avoid these debuffs. And what I mean by kind of avoiding them is, like I said, it's in the top row and in the center tile where I usually have this fat boo. Right, so someone is going to get hit by those debuffs, but at least you'll have 3 members not getting hit by that debuff, right? By just avoiding that top row altogether. Also, I would definitely say be aware, like not necessarily a high priority target, but just be aware of Android 16, right? If he dies, he will give all of his Android allies or Gohan units 15% to damage inflicted. And I usually target him last, but another thing that easily can be overlooked is that he can also self-destruct on attack if he's at 15% health or below, so definitely be careful of that. Let me know if I overlooked any other high priority android that you should be targeting. So next we have Sun Family fights. Once again, I don't think we're ever going to stop seeing these guys on the board. Just make sure you guys have a very high key restore based team, right? And as always, I do say make sure you have your specific team that you are building at Friendship Rank 10. Friendship Rank 10 is going to grant you bonus stats to every single stat, most notably and most importantly, the key restore speed attack, or the key restore speed stat, which will allow you to attack faster and just take priority over your opponents, right? Because you do, as long as you can kill Goten before he super attacks, then you can clear these fights pretty easily. Thankfully, we do have some oddball Sun Family fights in here, kind of, right? Not even really Sun Family entirely. You do see some of these where it's Goten paired up with Super 13, right? And Android 18, I guess it can be kind of annoying. Right here, once again, you just got to prioritize getting Goten before it gets a super attack, getting Super 13 before it gets a super attack, and you should be good. This team is definitely not as scary without the Super Saiyan Gohan on it, the blue one, right? Alright, so now let's move on to best teams, starting off with Regeneration, and although it might not necessarily be the best team, this is usually what I use, so if you guys want to go ahead and copy me right here, that's more than fine with me. But on the right hand side, I do have a secondary option for you guys to go ahead and try out, right? This guy is rank 18, right? And he's using a pretty good Regeneration team as well. This is probably what I'm going to go with right here, though, in the middle of the screen, right? So for the most part, Zenkai Piccolo might be the move here, right? And the reason why I want to bring in both Zenkai Piccolo and Boo Tanks is because this guy, he actually has a buff against androids, right? And like I said before, androids are going to be popping up everywhere on the board this season, so this might be a good investment. I only have him at Zenkai level 2, but I think that's still suitable. We are still going to be able to get a somewhat of a Zenkai buff for our Boo Tanks right here too, right? The only thing that does really suck here for Regeneration specifically is the fact that LF Piccolo has once again been demoted down to S tier. He might come back to Z tier next season, I'm not too sure, but either way, he's a staple on my Regeneration team. I'm going to bring him regardless. Alright, so next we have Sagas from the movies, boasting a complete Z tier lineup. So I do have 2 formations set up right here. In the last video, we did talk about Gamma 2 and how I thought he's going to be an absolute staple on androids, right? But he can also fit in right here because he is technically Sagas from the movies as well, and he buffs both of the tags, right? Androids or episode Sagas from the movies. And the reason why he's so good is because he's a healer, right? He gets damage inflicted, he gets critical rate up, he gets 50% to own special move gauge, and restores health of allies in range by 2% on the 3rd turn. So now you can run this team with 2 healers, with Gamma 2 and with the Super Saiyan movie Bird Coup, right? Or, well, the Super Saiyan Goku, who's from the movies, from the Cooler movie, right? he has been dubbed as Birdku by the community, and so he also is going to be one of your healers. So that's 3% health from this guy after receiving an attack two times, so that's 6% from him. You're also getting the percentage from Gamma. You're getting a lot of healing right here, man. And then plus, for the most part, Sagas from the movies have so many free-to-play Zenkai options, right? And keep in mind, when I say that, the Zenkais are free, not necessarily the unit themselves for the most part, right? And the reason why I have Sagas from the movies up here as well is because we just got the Zenkai for this guy. So this is the closest thing to a quote-unquote new unit that we got. Let's go ahead and take a look at him, what he does. So his key restore speed, right off rip, amazing. 2,680 key restore, that's at friendship rank 1, by the way. Right, just at friendship rank 1. I'm pretty sure this guy will be attacking first in all of your guys' lineups. Right, he has an ultimate available to him. We look at his abilities right here. He gets damage inflicted. And then he also gets plus 20% to damage inflicted for 1 turn for his allies in range. Right, that's pretty good. And then you also have this ability right here, where at the start of the first turn you get a damage cut by 30%. You get plus 52 key recovery, so you're just increasing it even more. You also get applies buff effect, nullifies attribute downgrades, applies buff effect, nullifies abnormal conditions. You also get at the start of the third turn plus 15% to damage inflicted and minus 15% to damage received. Plus you are also getting the Zenkai buff for your red Bojack right here. Right, increases the following stats of characters that are both element red and episode sagas from the movies. Alright, so for the next team, and probably still the #1 team, no surprise here, is Sun Family. Right, I think the only thing that's crazy about this is that for like the first time in a while, I think, is one of their units got demoted to S tier, and it is this guy right here, the Super Saiyan Teen Gohan from the Broly movie, right? He finally got demoted. Is this going to be the end of terror that Sun Family has brought upon ToP? I don't think so. I really don't think so. But either way, there's not much to say about this team. They're just absolutely amazing. As long as you have a healer or two, or even just one, right? You see it work with as long as you have a healer on here, as long as you have Gohan, Goten, Kaioken, Goku, like, you're going to be good. You could even bring the new Zenkai Great Saiyan Man here. I think the thing I'm most interested in is even on, so if you look at the right hand side, this guy's actually switching it up a little bit. It's more so a hybrids setup with the Red 18, right? So he does have the Gohan Trunks duo unit with the EX Gohan. I'm pretty sure that EX Gohan is just there to Zenkai buff though. But honestly, if we look at the Gohan and Trunks duo unit, I don't think they're all that bad, right? They have decent key restore speed, 2,531. That's at friendship rank 1, so that can go up. You do have the reverse elemental factors. You do get a lot of buffs right here. So I definitely see why this is doing well right here, right? He's putting a lot of resources into this duo unit right here. You do have your DPS at the same time, right? He's at overall ranking of 9. Right, so that's pretty good. On the other hand, though, this guy is immensely difficult to pull, just in general, right? So this guy has him at red star level. I have him at 2 stars, so definitely would not work out for me. All right, so for the next team I want to talk about is actually a different team, right? So finally, we're talking about a different team right here, right? And I've been seeing this team specifically get a lot of traction, so I kind of want to just break it down for you guys so I can show you guys why it's doing so good. So right off rip, you do have 2 healers, with Angel Vegeta, who is an S tier, unfortunately, for this season, and EX Namek Goku, right? So already having 2 healers available to you is a massive boon, but you guys might look at this and be like, well, these Saiyans are all over the place, right? Because some of them are buffing Universe 6, some of them are just buffing only Super Saiyan, some of them are buffing just the Frieza saga, right? So it can be a little bit messy, but hear me out. So Kale, immediately beginning with Kale, she has a strike cover change, right? But it does not have a health restriction on it. I think that's the most important thing. And she can heal herself, plus she applies debuffs on the enemy team. Now, if you look at Kaba, he can also heal himself on turn 3. Plus, he has damage inflicted buffs for tag rival universe or character Vegeta in range. And he also puts a debuff, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 20% to blast damage received for 1 turn. Now the Caulifla assist unit is more than likely your DPS unit right here, because she can farm special move gauge, right? She gets 30% to special move gauge at the start of the first turn, which is pretty good. She has decent key recovery. She actually gets 80 key recovery within her kit. She's essentially like your DPS unit, nothing too special here. She can heal herself if she goes below 50%, but you don't want that to happen in the first place. Now you also have this Zenkai GT Vegeta, who he puts so many debuffs, man. On blast attack, he puts attribute downgrade plus 20% to blast damage received for 1 turn, right? At the start of the second turn, he inflicts attribute downgrade plus 20% to damage received for 2 turns. This is to all enemies, by the way. And he also inflicts attribute downgrade minus 50% to health restoration for 2 turns. That's a lot. That's a lot, dude. And then we look at Super Vegeta right here. And he also has high key recovery. First of all, he gets key recovery in his kit. He gets 50% to blast damage, and you want to make sure you keep him above 40% HP at all times, right? Because otherwise you'll miss out on this entire ability right here, where he restores health by 2%, 30% to damage inflicted, and 50% to special move gauge. Plus, he just gets the Zenkai buff for Element Yellow and Tag Saiyans. And then last but not least, you do have this Zenkai Raditz, who probably the most usefulness that he gets is from his Z ability, right? The 18% to tag Saiyan max base health. Health is very, very important in this game mode. But he also gets to the entire board 30% to blast damage inflicted by allied tag Saiyans. So you combine all of these buffs with all of the debuffs, and you just start melting everyone like butter. I honestly saw a lot of these teams in the top 100 last season, and I do expect to see some more this season. Hopefully, we'll go ahead and wait and see. I do want to see some more people try out more variations with this team, but this is pretty much known like as the debuff team, the Saiyan debuff team, right? It's brilliant. Right, I honestly, I kind of want to use it myself. The only thing that I really dislike about this team is that it is very Zenkai heavy, right? Like you see it with the Super Vegeta, with the Kaba, because Kaba wasn't free to play. Super Vegeta wasn't free to play. The only ones that were free to play were the Kale and the GT Vegeta right here, right? So it really just depends on your box if you want to go through with this team. All right, so for the next team I have for you guys is Androids. So Gamma, once again, like I said, we talked about Gamma 2 before. I'll talk about him again. Him being you can run 2 healers on this team now, right? Because Android Red 18 and Gamma 2 are both healers. So you can, honestly, I think this would guarantee your Red 18 surviving whatever that they throw at him, right? And you could just swap him between these 2 tiles right here so he can get whatever heals he needs. If he needs to heal, oops, not that. If he needs to heal Android 16, you put him right here. If you need him to heal this green cell, you put him right here, right? But Red 18 will probably always just stay right here so she can be in range of this 16's cover change right here, which you see it lighting up right there, right? And another thing to mention too is that even if you look at S tier right here, dude, the duo droids are still right here chilling, man. Usually when you see an LF unit drop from Z tier from release, they usually just drop off the face of the earth and they go all the way down like into C tier or something like that, right? Or even B tier or stuff like that, right? These guys are still in S tier, so if you guys want to go ahead, because I picked up a unit from S tier right here. There's no shame in picking up a unit from S tier. I do like that Blue 21 a lot, right? So you could even pick these guys up maybe, but for me personally, I think this guy is the better red android for the team overall, right? He has good key restore speed. He will attack before Goten does, even at 2,579, because he also gets key recovery in his kit. He gets plus 60 to it, right? So that's pretty good overall. This is even at friendship rank 10, and then he also gets a guaranteed super attack on turn 3. So this is how I would run it. This is how this guy would run it right here. He piled on the red units, which is respectable. I do understand that too, but Gamma 2 I think is going to be like one of your staple blues here. And finally, for the honorable mentions for this season, I do want to go ahead and include both GT and LOE. I probably would put them like on the same scale, right? Both teams only have 5 units below Z tier this season, not including the hero units. So a lot of teams that are very viable this season, both of these teams are eating good right here. I do have 2 formations up right here from the leaderboard. You really can't go wrong with either of these setups. On the LOE side, I think it's actually kind of strange that this guy's using the EX Frieza. Right, he doesn't do a lot, to be real honest. And then plus, I guess it's just the fact that he is in Z tier that's he has some value to him, but other than that, he doesn't do anything too crazy. Plus the EX stats are always just going to go ahead and weigh him down, but other than that, both these teams are very solid. All right, so that being said, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for season 27 of ToP for this guide at the very least. Like I said before, make sure you guys stay on the lookout for the walkthrough videos that will come out later on in the season once I hit 13 TP and once I hit the final 12 TP as well, so I can get through the first half and then the second half of the board. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns in the comments down below, and as always, make sure you guys do go ahead and help one another out in the comments down below too, right? We do have this community and everyone is working towards the same goal right here, just to get that top 25% 1000 juicy CC. That's what we need, especially with anniversary right around the corner. We gotta save up, man. All right, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.